Hey, back again. Hi, interwebs people. It's November something. I don't know what it is. November 22nd was Saturday, and this is Monday. So there you go. It's November 24th, 2025. It's been 18 days since the birds were killed. It's been 2 days since the Farmers Protest Canada thing happened. And boy, no lack of things to do, eh? What an interesting life this is. Yeah, I mentioned to those of you who have a problem with chewing gum, it's unfortunate. You might want to change the channel. I'm chewing the gum because the last time I smoked a cigarette was up on the mountain on November 6th as I watched the birds being corralled into the death pen. It was a highly emotional day, and I just threw away. I saw the sunbeams coming through the trees up on the mountain, and I just said to God, look, I don't want to smoke anymore. I've been smoking far too much. Doesn't feel good. I'm waking up in the morning coughing, and I don't know that I can quit, but I think with you I can, so I've kind of been relying on him, a little bit of gum. So there you go. That's the deal on the gum. The shirt. Oh, I want to talk about the shirt. You hear it? You see it? It says, I love you. Pass it on. It's a good message, eh? And if you don't love people, why don't you? What's wrong with you? You feel like you weren't loved as a child? That might be the case. You might have suffered from a feeling of lack of love. I think most of us do, especially those who whine and complain about others doing things. We had a great attendance at the farmers' protest. It was pretty cool. Yeah, we had over 100 people in Queen's Park, which is where myself and Thunder were. There were hundreds of people showed up out of the West Coast in both, Calgary area as well as Vernon area. I know there were small gatherings out in New Brunswick as well as Manitoba. Saskatchewan had some rolls. I know there was some over the highways, people out with signs. All in all, it seemed to be a really, positive event, something that was people really enjoyed. One of the biggest challenges with these things is that, I love the ones, though, that hate on it. They go, what a flop, eh? You and 6 people showed up, huh? Person sitting there spending their time tapping away on a keyboard, complaining about how other people aren't doing enough. And not enough people showed up. You can see the humor in that, right? We got to do something. We can't sit back and just expect it's going to get better. It's not. Okay, going out once for a protest ain't going to do it either. Although I want to thank you all who came out. I bet you had a blast. I've been reading the comments. You did have fun. And that's good. It's funny. The government likes us when we're isolated, when we're looking in our own little boxes. When we're not face to face with others. You know why? When we get in the field of somebody else's energy, we get face to face with them, we not only hear what they're saying, we not only see, but we feel what they're all about. And the love that humans have for others, for other beings, other than themselves, is quite incredible. And I think what you saw with the ostrich thing, the reason why so many people were outraged and got involved was because this offended their sense of humanity. This didn't have anything to do with what political party you were voting for. This had to do with, why the hell are they doing this? How can they do this to an innocent family who didn't do anything wrong? And as a result, people wanted to do something, and they did. And thank goodness. But it doesn't end there, folks. We can't just do one thing and hope it's going to fix it. It's got to become a way of life. Ladies and gentlemen, we in Canada are really in trouble, right? Do you know that? I don't think y'all know. I don't think many of you know how much trouble we're in. I was talking to a few people at dinner the other day. I love you, pass it on. By the way, I want it before dinner. This is Druthers, Sean Jason, the guy who runs Druthers. This was an initiative he had. He had cards that he passed out and T-shirts he passed out. And I think it's a good vibe, good message. I think we need to share more of that kind of stuff out. Kudos to Druthers and all those guys out there sharing the truth. Even though they get zero traction, they've been canceled from everything, but they keep on going. And you know how they do it? They do it through donations. This is an interesting thing. People are called grifters when they accept donations for doing work that doesn't pay, which is very interesting because the work that does pay are the ones behind office desks pushing papers that allow people to go out with guns and mow down birds. Those are the ones that are getting paid on your dollar. But you're complaining when somebody else raises money so that people can voluntarily pay for the kind of actions they want to see. How about we do this? How about we take all the public servants and take them off of the payroll? Yeah? We'll make it on a voting basis. We'll make it on, hey, I really like what you do, so I'm going to fund you in doing that. Could you imagine? All of the money, the 50% that comes off our taxes, would all of a sudden be going to the places where we wanted it to go. Whoa, that just sounds like heresy, doesn't it? Could you imagine our tax dollars actually going to something that we want? Do you know why I didn't vote for 30 years of my adult life? Because I knew there was somebody with their finger on a bomb, and that bomb was very expensive, and I was the one paying for it. I don't vote for that. My dollars don't vote for that. You know what my dollars vote for? Sticking up for the little guy. You know, if I took my tax, here's how I'd be spending my tax dollars right now. I'd be donating to all these people, going out to the convoys, and going out to the farms, and going out to the Dan Hartmans of the world, who lost his son to some medical bullshit. My money'd be going to that. Because I think those are the people who deserve to be supported. Not our government officials. Not the CFIA. And certainly not the RCMP. Y'all might think with my attitude that I have a problem with police. I do have a problem with police. I have a problem with the police force. I don't have a problem with the idea that we should have police officers that enforce law and order in our society. I don't. I think it's a great idea. I actually don't even really have a problem with them having guns. As long as everybody else gets the guns too. I'm not going to be forced, and I don't think you should be forced, at the end of a gun or at the end of a threat to do or not do anything. Or at the end of a needle, for that matter. When I grew up, my mom told me, don't take drugs. She specifically said, don't take drugs from strangers. And I think my own mind came up with, and maybe I shouldn't take drugs unless I knew what they were. And yet somehow the government gets away with saying, hey, you all need to take this drug, or else you're going to lose your living. You're going to lose your job. You'll lose your standing in the community. You won't be able to travel. Because you're part of a small fringe minority with unacceptable views. Unacceptable views? Let me tell you something. We need a hell of a lot more unacceptable views, because it seems like the acceptable views aren't too freaking acceptable. How many of you cool with a sex flag being flown in the schools? Blows my mind. I see churches. I saw a church with a pole with a big sex flag on it. And it was within grabbing distance of somebody on the ground to pull it off, but it didn't get pulled off. Now, my natural inclination is pull that thing off. But the other side of my law and order things goes, people have the ability to express themselves the way they choose, and I don't want to take away that freedom of expression, because without that, we're screwed. Now, if you look at the bills in front of all of Parliament here in Canada right now, Bill C8, Bill C9, 63, all the bills, they are going to... You can say something here, right here, on the interwebs to somebody, and then come knock at your door and take you away. Because it's so ambiguous, the rules that they're putting into place. And it looks nice. Like if you read the word, it looks nice, but you gotta look at the ramifications of these bills, folks. I mean, I closed my eyes to it because it was too confusing. I didn't care. I didn't really know. But now I'm realizing all of these things, all of this pressure that's being put upon us is so that we don't have ability to focus on the things that are important, i.e. these people in suits who are putting rules in place that are just going to destroy your and my life. That's what's happening right now. Okay? And they are ruthless. At this point, they are shameless. Can you imagine that they would go and destroy 314, according to their own numbers, birds, by blowing them away with high-caliber weapons and then cutting their heads off in the morning? I bet they didn't want you to see that. I bet they had no interest in that happening. No, but thank goodness there's people going up on mountains taking pictures of what the hell's going on so the rest of the world can see it. And at this point, what are you going to do, folks? You going to pretend it didn't happen? You sit back and go, it wasn't my birds? I understand there's 20-something thousand birds here going to be culled in Ontario. And somebody reaches out to me and says, why don't you do something about that? You know why I'm not going to do something about that? Because the farm owner's not doing something about that. You know why the farm owner's not doing something about that? Because they're scared shitless of the CFIA. They have a saying out west, shoot, shovel, and shut up. You know what that means? Before you tell the authorities anything, you deal with it, because they're going to come in and destroy everything you've got. And you better shut the hell up, or else not only are you not going to get paid. Now, see, that's how they do it, right? How they get away with culling all the chickens and stuff? They pay the farmers. This $3,000 a bird thing, that people are floating around, oh, the farmers get a $3,000 bird. Nah. That $3,000 bird is the maximum amount of money that the CFIA will pay you to recuperate your losses for a valuable strain of genetics in poultry. That's the maximum that can be paid out. The ostrich farm was never offered that money. No, they were never offered $3,000. They weren't offered anything because they didn't comply. So the farmers don't show up. You know, y'all complain, oh, there wasn't enough tractors out. Oh, the farmers protest. If you had a tractor, would you go to a farmers protest knowing the CFIA was looking at it coming after your farm next? Would you? No, you wouldn't. Would you have if you were a farmer who really just wanted to keep their farm going, didn't want to kill all the birds, shit like that, would you rather somebody else went out on your behalf or that nothing happened? I'm just getting inside the head of the farmers here. What do you think? If I was a farmer and I couldn't speak up because I was afraid of losing everything, I would want somebody else to stand up for me. Well, the ostrich farm stood up for every single farmer and they didn't realize it. And now, farmers, you can't claim that you don't know. Now, you need to communicate with us, the people, the good people of Canada. How would you like us to deal with this, farmers? Would you like us to just shut up and allow the World Health Organization, WOA, and the Animal Health Act to just come in and kill everything you got because they say so? Without testing? Or if they test, they use a PCR test. Not a diagnostic tool. Never was. It's been proven, folks. This is not conspiracy theory bullshit. This is actually what's going on in Canada. You know, it's hilarious. I saw a freaking poll today. Canada, the best place in the world to live. Ha! You read all of the freaking comments, and like, who's saying that? The ones who don't live here? Because what's happening, folks, our Canadians who live here and grow businesses here and work here, okay? Those Canadians are in trouble because there are tons and tons and tons. When I'm saying tons, the population is 100% seeded by immigration. Now, I don't have a problem with that. My parents were immigrants. We're all immigrants eventually. But if you put too many coming in and they're just going to vote for whoever let them in, and if you vote for whoever let them in without knowing what they stand for, other than the fact that they let you in, well, you can see where that might be a problem. And that's what's happening, folks. You see how it works? It's been co-opted, and we have to do something about it. And we have to do something about it on a consistent basis. So there's a couple of things proposed. The CFIA is not going to get away with this. We are going to demand transparency and accountability from the CFIA. Now, when we showed up at the Port Perry CFIA office, not myself personally, I was a little further away, some others were right at the office, they shut down the office for the day on the 21st of November in Port Perry. Now, I'm wondering whether or not those people got paid to go home or whether they had to take the day off and didn't get paid. That would make a difference. I'd really like to know that. And I wonder how many of those people at those CFIA offices actually understand what their organization does. I wonder if they understand that they go in and they get paid to kill through this stamping out policy instead of burning out, which is where you segregate the sick ones and see if they recuperate. And if they do, you reintroduce them. And if they don't, they die and it's gone. I'd love to know how many employees understand that policy and agree with it and understand that they are working for a government agency who is cruelly and without any conscience whatsoever devastating families' lives, farmers' lives. 20% of the poultry out in BC has been condemned to death. There's 90 million of them out there. Ostriches are not poultry. They're ratites. A totally different classification. It's crooked, folks, and they're coming after our food supply because if they control the food, they control you and I. You get that, right? You understand that? You okay with that? Let's make sure the CFIA employees understand what their agency is up to, and let's make sure that Paul McKinnon is held accountable for this. Now, the thing with Paul McKinnon, the thing that concerns me a little bit, the guy's part of the Privy Council, okay? Now, I don't know a whole bunch about a whole bunch, but the Privy Council is kind of like the dudes and the dudettes who make all the rules behind the scenes and then just tell all the MPs this is the way it is. That's the way to do it. Now, he was part of that. And then he got shifted over to the CFIA. And I don't know if that was a demotion or a promotion or side motion. I don't know what the hell it was. But if he wants to stay at the CFIA, I think we shouldn't let him. And if he wants to leave the CFIA, I don't think we should let him without conditions. We need to hold these people individually accountable because they're the ones who made the decisions. And if you don't agree with the decision, as a taxpayer, you have a right to protest that, to say, no, I don't agree with that decision because it was my money. Folks, we need a voting system that will do, it's very, very simple. Anything that pertains to anyone that is a taxpayer, that someone should have the ability to vote on any aspect of that particular thing. And their representatives, their whole job, public servants' whole job, is to do the will of the public. The will of the public was not to kill these birds, so there's some other will at play here. And it's the handful of the whatevers up top who just want to submit, want you to submit. Do what you're supposed to do. Pay more taxes. Consume, consume, consume. So that we'll get wealthier. Why? Oh my God. You know why people are leaving Ontario? Huh? Capital gains. You know how capital gains works? Yeah, remember when you used to buy a house for $1 million and went up to $2 million? You got to keep the $1 million? Not anymore. Capital gains can take 50% of that. So now you make $1 million on your house, you only get to keep $500,000. Where's the other $500,000 go? Not to you, and that's the only thing that matters, because it disappears into the bureaucracy and gets spread around to agencies like the CF frickin' IA to do their will and not yours, and not mine. You know what? It ends. It ends. As soon as we say it ends, it ends. If every single one of us stood up and took some kind of action, positive, forward-thinking, solution-oriented action, it all changes. Overnight, almost. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, because changes don't happen overnight. And this is a war. It is not a battle. We've lost the battle of the ostriches. For now. We'll see how that works out. But the war of government overreach on the population of Canadians is just starting. And people are just starting to come aware, because they're coming online, because they're going, okay, there's something wrong here. Okay? This is not a political party thing. The politicians stayed the hell away from everything that had to do with the ostrich farm because they were so concerned about their own reputations or what they could or couldn't do, that the restrictions were put upon them by the positions that they held. Therefore, the system is the problem. It doesn't matter how good of a person you put into the office, it ain't going to work. Damocles sword, you ever heard of that? It's when you get into a certain position and you start to learn certain things, all of a sudden there's this sword hanging over your head by a very, very thin thread that there's invisible scissors that can cut at any time. Don't make too much of a difference, or you too will be the next target. Well, guess what, folks? We're all the target whether we know it or not. And we have the ability to stand up right now before it gets too late, before you don't have enough food on the table, or you don't have enough money to buy the food, or there's not enough food in the grocery stores. Which is where it's going, folks. Agenda 2030. What's the year now? 2025? We're coming to 2026. We got 4 years, man. It's going to get worse and worse and worse, and it's going to accelerate. And we need to get together right now on an ongoing basis. It's been proposed on the 22nd of every month that we get together. Sounds great. It's been proposed the last Thursday of every month we get together. Sounds great. It's been proposed that we go to a CFIA office every single day with some kind of literature that shows exactly what the CFIA did to the ostriches and make sure every employee sees it so they understand what they're involved with. And if they still want to be complicit in those kind of crimes, allow them. But we'll know who they are. And the neighbors will know who they are. And more importantly, they will know. Okay? Our job is not to change minds. Our job is to inform. Our job is to present information and to be fearless in the presenting of that information, because if you're too damn afraid to speak up, you're not ever going to get anything you want. Okay, kindness. Let's talk about kindness for a second. Kindness is absolutely a virtue. It's one of the 7 fruits of the Spirit, I believe, kindness. But you know what isn't kind? Turning a blind eye to when people are doing horrible things to other people. That is not kind. You're not being kind to yourself. You're not being kind to others. It is not being kind, just being quiet when there is atrocities happening right across from you. And you know it. Folks, y'all got neighbors. You hear the yelling in the middle of the night sometimes. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Because the pressure upon the system is trying to get people so that they don't have the latitude up here. They don't have the bandwidth to be able to think critically and openly. So instead, no, I believe, conservative. And that's the way I'm going to vote because that's the way. No, I'm liberal. I'm going to... What the hell does that mean? I've seen so many liberal things that do conservative things, and conservative things do liberal things. I mean, Doug Ford out here is supposed to be conservative. He's about as liberal as they get. So don't even talk about that nonsense. It's a uniparty distraction. It is a psychological operation against the Canadian peoples to ensure that they remain confused, discombobulated, and hopefully afraid enough not to say anything to anybody, because as long as they shut up, the game goes on. You know what it's like? It's like Wizard of Oz. You know the little guy? Right, once you pull back the curtains, this little dude pushing it. That's exactly what's happening right now. There's a little Wizard of Oz pulling all these strings that are making life shitty for everyone. And if we were just left to our own devices, the good, hard-working people could make... Our country is amazing. There's nothing wrong with Canada. The geography is some of the most beautiful in the world. The people are some of the most resilient and kind people in the world, which is good. But sometimes you just got to say enough's enough and do something about it. We can't sit there and just let it all go to hell in a handbasket. And it's happening. You can feel it. You know it. We can change it. So I don't care whether it's the 22nd of the month, the 3rd Thursday of the month, every day at the CFIA. I don't really care. Maybe it should be just knocking on your neighbor's door and finding out how they're doing. Have a 10-minute conversation with them. Here's another thing. Homelessness. Do you think those people are all degenerates and on drugs? No. They don't feel like they have value in society anymore. You know why? Because when people look at them, they just pass by and pretend they don't see them. How about instead of giving them money, how about you sit down and have a conversation with a homeless person for about 5 minutes? Find out what the fuck their story is. Excuse my language. Huh? How about that? That's how you solve homelessness. Now you start finding out what people's stories are. And now you can start empathizing with people that have less than you. And you can start giving of the abundance that we have. And I don't care how little you got enough to give. Because if you don't have enough to give, you don't have enough to live. If we just give a little bit more than we take on the effort side, okay, and the material side if you can, on the effort side, of saying it's not all about me. There's other people on this planet. There's other people in this country that need our help. And when we rally around those people, all of a sudden our communities become stronger. And this is what it's about, folks. I don't know if we have a national identity anymore. Alberta certainly doesn't think so. They have a national identity. It's their own. And honestly, in Canada, I'm not sure we have a lot of options here, folks. My wife and I are moving to Alberta. I'm just saying. It's going down hard. Now, I'm going to talk to you one more thing just before I go. Tiny home living and such. Getting off the grid and all that. All right? Thunder and I have made efforts towards that since 2021. Pretty much. We sold our house. We bought a tiny home. We got a trailer. We got a truck. Everything we got's on wheels. Okay? And there's a reason for that, folks. If people don't have money, they can't buy things. And if the price of everything goes up, the value of everything goes down. So I would admonish each and every one of you to consider very, very, very carefully where you are investing your assets and time right now. Survival will happen inside. Unification with ourselves. Getting good in our own hearts with whatever we believe God to be. That's how we're going to survive. But beyond that, we need to get as independent and away from big institutional systems as we can. Because they are not going to save us. Okay, enough of that. Yay! I love you. Pass it on. And share this out to somebody that gives a crap. Okay? I care. I do. Fault me for it. My name's Jim Care. But I do. I got a new grandkid coming along. I got a grandkid already. I got two beautiful kids who are really, really happy right now. It's really great, actually. Life is an absolute gift right now. And I could not be happier or more thankful that I've met the people that I've met, that I get to do the things that I get to do, and that I have some influence. I mean, it's kind of cool. Thunder was saying, don't tell me you don't like all the people that know you and stuff like that. And I said to her, it's a double-edged sword, because it is. It hurts me when somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, Jim, like as if they know me, and then I don't know them, and I wish I could reciprocate that. So that's really tough. But it's really wonderful to be known as somebody who wants to make a difference, and who's trying to make a difference, and who actually gives a crap. I'd love to do this full time. I think we should find ways to get people, activists and such, activated. I think we should get them going full time. I don't know what that looks like. Love to hear all your ideas. But we need more people who give a crap out there doing things. Whether they're getting paid for it doing full time, or they're just paying for it out of their own, which I have been doing. I'm going to clear up one more thing on the ostrich farm just before we go. I stayed on site from April 12th to like May, June, July. I was back in August. So almost 5 months on the ground. And I collected about a total of about $500 US. Because for the first time, I turned on stars on my Facebook thing, right? So I got $500 for those first 5 months. Flew out a couple times, cost me a couple flights and all those things, and the lost opportunity cost. And then I came back again with my wife for almost 2 months. Got back 2 months less a day. The second time around, people were much more generous, and it was awesome. They bought us hotel rooms, enough money to buy a small car. We got a little van for like $1,500. We didn't have to pay $120 a day for rental, because that's what we were sleeping in. And we made about, roughly the equivalent of about 2 months' wage. Now, there was two of us there. It was only 2 months' wage for one person. But, yeah, we made some money. So we didn't have to continue to go in debt. And that ain't a bad thing. Okay? If you're actually making a difference and somebody's supporting you in that, that's awesome. And kudos to you that supported us. I want to thank you in that. I think that's amazing. Now we're back. We're living a pretty regular thing. We don't need anything right now. We got lots of things going on. But at some point in the future, we may need your help again. And I hope that you continue to help. I hope you continue to help anybody out there that you feel a need to do so. It doesn't matter who it is. because you don't have to be present in order to help. That's the whole point. The reason the ostrich thing got as big as it did is because everybody cared enough to share it out and to reach out and make the emails and make the phone calls. And don't stop doing that, folks. I mean, I don't want to be a political defeatist. Okay, if you're involved in that aspect of things, continue to do those things. But I would suggest municipal governance is where it's at. Municipal governance. Yeah. The Maggie Hope Brauns of the world, if you don't know about Kickley, take a look at what she's doing around the municipal town halls and getting them informed as to the UN agenda being penetrated into your municipality. You can stop this right where you live by going to your town councils. Maggie Hope Braun. Look for her. And then the heroes of the world like the Jody Ledgerwoods of the world. Okay, that just keep on keeping on and inform people and take positive actions to try to change things. I want to thank every single one of you. I really, really appreciate you. We had 7,000 freaking followers on Papa Bubble, baby. Yeah, let's start doing some stuff over here. I think it's great. You guys kind of came on. We really ramped up the Papa Bubble page just when the ostrich thing came on. So it's a whole new group of people, and I really love you guys. You're just salt of the earth, blue collar, white collar. I love it. That's me, man. You know, I worked at a factory. I did all kinds of jobs, self-employed, all kinds of different things. But I know what it's like to try to make a buck, man, and keep at it. I love you guys. I appreciate you. We're at Long and McQuaid now. I'm going to drop off the equipment that we rented for the weekend. And I hope to see you guys out at the CFIA. Well, I won't be at the CFIA office, but I can't wait to see your videos. Videos, pictures, get them to me, man. We're not only storing them all, we're compiling them all. I've got the most comprehensive footage from the ostrich farm. Like, I've been there the longest. I have all the drone shots overhead of the birds, and we haven't even compiled all that into something yet. We're going to be telling the ostrich story in depth. I believe it should be a movie. I'm not saying I'm going to make a movie, but I have enough stuff that if somebody wants to make a movie, we should talk about it. Because it was and is probably one of the most impactful things I've ever been involved in my adult life. You know, the trucker convoy was up there, but this thing is just way closer to my heart, those beautiful birds. And I can't wait to go out to Ostrich Land in Niagara. If you're anywhere in Ontario, go to Ostrich Land in Niagara, and check out the ostriches. And, yeah, man, just say a prayer, okay? Say a prayer for all those doing something. And don't stop. Don't stop. Okay? If you went out to the slow roll this month, go next month. And the month after that. All right? If you haven't been to a CFIR office, go. They're ugly. And they're boring. And they're not in any cool places. So be prepared to entertain yourself. But, you know, I don't know, bring a hay bale to sit on. And, you know, a little stuffed ostrich. And maybe your pet. Bring your pet with you. I think that'd be a good idea. Grab a couple people, go out to the CFIA office. Hand out a couple of leaflets. It's all things that we can do. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. Canadians, we got this. We can do this. You know it. You know it. You know it. We can grow it. All right. Love you guys. See you later.